Folks, today I'm going to talk to you about this seventh chakra opening and the third eye opening because one of my viewers of my Tamil videos asked me whether there is something called third eye and whether it is okay to open that by oneself. I think is an extremely important topic. I thought I will give him some useful information from my spiritual experience, and I thought I will share that experience with you also. Okay, now before I do that, I want to tell you something about how to learn new things as new as this seventh chakra opening and third eye opening, etc. Because these are not just the normal events in human life. This is something which happens very, very early to people. So there is a way to learn about such things, either from yourself or by from others. Now, for example, take first Newton. He discovered the law of motion by observing the falling apple from the apple tree. It was a very, very ordinary event, but that enabled him to discover this law of motion. Same way, so many people would have observed the falling apple from the tree, but only to Newton it occurred how to formulate the law of motion from that event. The reason probably is because he has an open mind to learn something from an ordinary event, from any source around him. Same thing about Albert Einstein. It is said that before he formulated his famous theory, he used to imagine that what will happen to me if I travel at the speed of light? What will happen to my mass? That prompted him to think a lot of things and then formulated his special theory of relativity. That's what is being said about Albert Einstein. Now again, here you notice that it's just an ordinary imagination. You and I imagine so many things in our life, but it's only to Albert Einstein it occurred that to imagine him traveling at the speed of light. So what I'm trying to say from this is that you have to have an open mind to learn new things, especially new things from worldly events or some imaginations, etc., etc. And also, there is a tendency in human beings to learn only from authority. From authority, you can only learn things that generally have been established already. To learn something new, you have to be ready to learn from anybody, anything around you. One of my viewers in Tamil video said that you are talking that you are Kalki, what age uh, Jesus Christ was teaching and what age he died. Probably you would have thought that I'm very old after watching my Kalki videos and said that, look, you must be very young like Jesus Christ. To teach all those things, you are an old man. So he was kind of disputing whether I'm Kalki or not. Don't worry whether I'm Kalki or not. You don't have to have an authority to learn new things. In fact, when Jesus was teaching about love and various things about the kingdom of God, nobody really listened to him. Nobody cared about him, and they were all against him. Only now people worship him as God, and millions of people all around the world are reading Bible, the book, people wrote about him and tried to learn from him. But at that time, there was nobody to learn from him. So you don't have to have an authority. If you think that you will learn only from an authority, first establish yourself as a Kalki. Make sure, prove that you are Kalki. Only then I will learn from you. If you keep saying that, then probably you will miss a lot of things about what I'm saying. You will not even care to find out the truth about what I'm saying. You have to have an open mind, and you don't have to be listening to an authority, and so that person doesn't have to prove himself to be an authority before you can learn from him. That's what in general I want to talk about it. Now let's go to the topic of the seventh chakra opening and third eye opening. This happened, as you all know, I've told you this many times, when I was 31 years old, very close to the age of Jesus Christ, by the way. Now, at that time, I was married, and just 3 years old marriage, and our child was, my wife conceived that our child already at that time. So I was not living a monk's life. I was a married man living a normal life, though I was interested in all this kind of spiritual things. So during that first experience, there was a very, very clear physical feeling that the seventh chakra opened, because I could feel that that opening happened at the top of my head. So there was no doubt about it. It's a seventh chakra opening. After that opening, and this golden light entered into my body, washed my body totally, and then immediately I saw the golden body. It's not a physical body of mine in front of me, but you can call that as a subtle body, full of golden light. The point is, how did I see this? Where is this viewing, seeing, the power to see this came from? Because at that time there was no feeling of the third eye, the eyebrow, between the eyebrow, there was no physical feeling. So this is purely from something based on my seventh chakra opening. But I'm going to talk immediately now about one of my experiences with this eyebrow, between the eyebrow experience, and you will see the difference between the two. So on another day, as the usual thing, my mind was arrested, and there was darkness everywhere, and there was no physical feeling except that I am there. And there was total darkness all around. And when I looked at the darkness, then this three integrated, joined together head, only heads opened, formed rather. It looks like I created those three integrated heads. And they were all dark. There was no life in them. They were not moving at all. And suddenly, this golden light came from my somewhere from my forehead, and it fell on that central head, and then it became alive. And that is why I keep saying that this golden life has the power to give life to lifeless things. Now, clearly at this point, that there was a sensation around in the forehead, but I didn't see the third eye as people depict, the vertical eye that people draw in Shiva's picture. I didn't see any such eye, but I saw that golden light, felt the golden light going from my forehead. So that this is clearly this something to do with the third eye, or the sixth center in the forehead. Now, note that first there was an experience or vision of all the darkness and the three heads forming, etc., etc. But at that time, there was no feeling of the forehead. So that it appears to me as a like kind of a vision associated with my seventh chakra opening. And within that, this the third eye experience took place. So clearly you could see that there is a difference between the two. And also I want to talk to you about another third eye experience, probably two of them. Another day when I was in New Jersey, sitting in my sofa doing some normal things, suddenly my mind was arrested and everything changed, and there was total darkness everywhere. And then suddenly this forest-like thing appeared, and inside the earth, I saw a statue, a woman's statue there, and suddenly there was something from my forehead went towards that statue and touched it. I felt clearly that it is something feeling of I went from my body to that because at that time I didn't have the body experience. I shouldn't say that from my body because it went from the feeling of I went from started at the forehead and went and touched that statue inside the earth. And that's how I felt that it is me. So you could see that this is clearly again you can call that as a third experience or some experience with some vision associated with the forehead. That going off that I-ness is associated with the third eye, but in general vision of the whole thing is I would say associated with the seventh chakra because at that time and I saw that the whole darkness and the forest, etc., I didn't have the feeling of this forehead. Again, you could see the difference. Now, you don't have to be really experiencing the spiritual experience to really feel the third eye experience. Suppose you are sitting in a sofa and watching a movie on the screen in the TV or somewhere. Now, when you are watching that movie very, very, very attentively, sometimes the whole thing disappears from you. The fact that you are sitting in a sofa or a chair and watching that TV totally disappears, and everything around you disappears, and you are totally riveted to that movie. Suppose, can you imagine that one? I'm sure that it might have happened to you, at least some of you sometimes. Now, at that time, the feeling of you is really at the level of that screen, the TV screen. And after that riveting experience over, then probably you came back, your feeling of I came back to you. That is, you felt around everything around, and you felt that you were sitting in a sofa or a chair, and that I, which was on the screen, to return inside your body. So now this is an ordinary experience that maybe you can experience. So you could see that this I has a power to travel from your body via the sixth chakra, where the third eye people say is associated, is located. Via that forehead, it can travel outside your body. This is something very interesting. I experienced this kind of thing very vividly on another day when I was working in New Jersey in a corporation. I was walking in a cafeteria after taking my lunch, and in the far corner there was a lady, very unknown to me. Then suddenly I appeared to look at that woman far away, and suddenly this feeling of I went from my body from that via that forehead and touched her. I'm sure that she didn't feel that because that was not a normal physical touch. It was more like higher frequency touch. Otherwise, he would have turned towards me. Yeah, she didn't feel that at all. So what I'm talking about is this ability of this eye to travel via the forehead. You can call it as a third eye or whatever, or the sixth chakra outside of your body also. This is a fantastic experience. And some people say that this third eye thing is associated with the pineal gland and so on, which is at the back of the head, inside the brain. I want to talk about one such experience. At that time, I used to go to Satya Sai Baba bhajan meetings, and I was sitting in a bhajan meeting. Basically, I go there to talk about the God, and I had several friends of mine there. So I used to discuss with them after the bhajan is over and so on. That was my aim of going to those bhajan meetings. Now, when I was sitting in that bhajan, suddenly at the back of my head, I felt like a wave of things where people say that the pineal gland is located. And it was a red color. I think I talked about this in one of my earlier videos. And this is exactly the wave kind of thing that they depict in Nataraja statue. Behind on the two sides, you would see a wave of things. A wave-like structure is attached to the backside of Nataraja's statue. So, but I don't know really this pineal gland associated with the third eye. I'm sure that one day neuroscientists and others will do a thorough experiment and really discover and come up with the theory of this third eye experience and its association to this pineal gland. But there are right now speculation and hypotheses are being formulated at this point. So I won't really say that pineal gland is directly associated with third eye experience, but there is a possibility. Now, that friend of mine who asked that comment about this third eye experience after watching my Tamil video asked me the question, is there any kind of a third eye, something that people depict in Shiva's forehead? I didn't see any such thing. I see is the going out of this feeling of eye from my forehead, and not only the feeling of eye, but also this golden light. So I won't be able to tell you for sure whether there is this physical third eye like structure inside the body or not. There may be or may not be. I'm open-minded at this point for science to tell me. Now, so he asked me whether it's a good thing to open one's sixth chakra and the third eye oneself or not. There are a lot of YouTube videos. People try to open that either taking some kind of drug or by doing some Kundalini yoga, etc. By the way, I never done any kind of yogic exercises. Though I generally learn, I'm aware of various chakras and other things. I never done this Kundalini raising yogic exercises, etc. myself. Anyway, in the YouTube videos, many people say that they have been terrified sometimes and they are totally depressed after opening their third chakra. Some people have reported this pleasant feeling, and even them, after some time, they lose interest in that and they feel very kind of alone, loneliness, and so on. So my observation from all this thing, by the way, and for me, there was no fear, there was nothing associated with depression, etc., etc. It was just especially the first spiritual experience of golden light entering in my body is so joyful. So I didn't feel fear or depression. But this is an important point. All the ignorances are in human mind. You all are aware of that. Now, when people open or excite this Shakti energy at the sixth center, from the normal day-to-day level of that Shakti's power, if you excite that, if it gets too much power, then with all the ignorances intact in your mind, you will all your fears and bad experiences of yours, sometimes the good experiences will be amplified, and then you will experience that extreme fear and depression and things like that. But when all your ignorances or for some reason knowingly unknowingly disappear, or if they don't have a strong hold on you, then what happens, this I inside your mind, and also the three the jyotis that I've been talking about, which are surrounding your body, that is the golden light and the red light and the white light, they together project something in front of you. You could experience that. You'll feel sometimes the sea of red light, golden light, or the white light. Some people will see this as in light form. Some people will see more in a human like figure. For example, one of the ladies who said that there is something big ego going on with me commented saying that the Saraswati, or she called that one as a Matangi. Maybe that is the name associated with Saraswati in the northern Indian culture. So she appeared and said several things. So sometimes what you experience after you remove after the ignorances in your mind lose hold of the I inside you. There are sometimes this light, sometimes this human figure, sometimes some abstract symbol. For example, some people have reported. I also sometimes saw the triangle in front of my in my forehead, upward pointing triangle. So it depends on your mental state, what kind of things. The three lights and the feeling of you create in front of you. And I want to point out the connection between this and your normal day-to-day dreaming. When you sleep in the night, when you dream something, there is something fantastic happening, though people normally don't think that it is something fantastic because it happens to everybody normally. That is the dreaming thing. Where is this scene coming from? Because it looks like it's a totally different world based on your, or somehow some dependencies on your experiences of good events, bad events, sad events, etc., etc. But based using that, there is something associated with the I thing, I-ness inside you, which creates this fantastic world of dreaming. And I propose that when this Shakti or the energy is excited beyond the normal level, it goes from showing this world in your dream, but also even when you are awake, suddenly sometimes this has, because that center, sixth center is excited and has too much power, that Shakti has too much power, it just projects this fantastic visions in front of you. So it could be, it may be the work of this the I inside your mind, which is using the contents of your brain to show this vision. That's why it appears to me that if your brain is full of ignorances, then you get all this fear, when somehow the ignorances are not having a big hold, then all the spiritual experiences happen. So that's what I want to discuss with you today. Now you can clearly see from this there is a clear distinction between the seventh chakra vision and the third eye vision. With the third eye vision, there is a clear feeling that there is this feeling of the forehead, whereas the seventh chakra, the feeling is at the top of the head. And also, I want to point out one more thing, that is the third eye opening or its vision is different from Shiva's third eye. There is a difference between that Shiva's third eye experience and also normal human third eye experience, because the Shiva is some state of vibration in the world of gods. It's about very high level frequency compared to the normal human level frequency, which are still there vibrating at the level of the human mind. So you should clearly understand that the normal third eye experience of human being is not same as Shiva's third eye experience. So basically, that's what I want to talk to you today, folks. If you have any question, please leave a comment and I will respond as much as possible with the best of my abilities. Talk to you soon.